Violence erupted in Colombia over the weekend, marking one of the deadliest for the country in years. In total, 26 coordinated terrorist attacks, including drone strikes, shootings, and car bombs, were reported on civilian and military bases across 2 days. The deadliest attack occurred on Saturday. A bomb detonated on a highway in the Cauca region, killing 21 people and injuring almost 50 others. CBS News national correspondent Lilia Luciano is here with us now for more on this. Why are we seeing such an uptick? And what impact, if any, is it going to have on their elections?
Well, the first answer that comes to mind when you ask that, Lindsay, is, of course, that the criminal groups who are fighting for coca production, cocaine corridors, trafficking, sending drugs, not just to the United States, but around the world, have grown too powerful. If you ask the candidates in the upcoming election in May, they're saying it's because these groups want to influence the election. But the reality is that we have seen this year 48 massacres this year alone in Colombia. That is the most that have happened in any election year in at least 10 years since the peace process with the FARC guerrilla was launched and was supposed to demobilize, to deactivate, to remove the power of these groups.
So how does the U.S. factor into this? Why should Americans be paying attention?
Americans should be paying attention because we are just 5 weeks ahead of the most critical election in the hemisphere. And things could go in one of two ways. If the Gustavo Petro ally wins, the leftist candidate, you're going to see a continuation of a set of policies that have given many of these groups the benefit of negotiation. They have been negotiating for 3 years under Petro. He believes that you can negotiate with these groups, that they can demobilize. That has not happened. They've actually increased in membership by 80%. And as you can see, in power and intimidation and extortions, kidnappings, killings. The candidates on the right are saying those policies have not worked, and we're here to fight the war on drugs, potentially, as the U.S. did starting at the beginning of this century in the years 2000 under what was called Plan Colombia, where the U.S. spent about almost $15 billion, $14 billion over 2 decades fighting with Colombia. A lot of people fear that when you're fighting those wars, things become bloody as well. So each of the candidates, Paloma Valencia on the right, Abelardo de la Espriella, which is more like the charismatic on the far right candidate, are saying things need to change. The Petro side, the left in the country, say, you know, we need to keep doing things the way we are. So we're going to be looking very closely because depending on what side wins, you're going to have more clashes with the Trump administration, more resistance, as we've seen with Petro, or you're going to see potentially a sparking of this war on drugs, fighting these cartels. I'm sure the White House has a preference, but they can't play a role in it.
Okay, well, we know you'll continue to follow the election for us. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.